Hi, this is Larry London, and we welcome you to a very special edition of Border Crossings. I'm joined by a couple of, I would love to call them my friends. They're friends to many, many millions of people around the world. Their music is loved and revered around the world. We've got Graham Russell and Russell Hitchcock. They are Air Supply, and they are here with us on The Voice of America. Welcome, guys.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you, Larry.
Well, the last time that I saw Russell, and I worked with you guys, the very last time in Hong Kong, we were backstage and you were getting vitamin B injections in your neck, Russell, because you had lost your voice, and you said that was the first time that ever happened to you before a concert. Do you remember that?
I remember my voice problems. I don't remember the B12 shots, but I remember before that they tried some Chinese herbal remedies, which included drinking honey with crushed up queen bees in the mix. It wasn't pleasant.
Well, you have such a high voice. It's hard to imagine, how do you keep your voice in shape? I mean, you have a recognizable voice. Whenever your voice is on the radio, people immediately know it's Air Supply. So how do you keep your voice in shape? How do you stay, hitting those notes? A lot of the artists have been doing this as long as you guys have. They can't hit those notes anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think a big part of it is that we work so much that it doesn't get a chance to lose its whatever. We've already done about 110 shows this year, and we're going overseas in a couple of weeks. But I don't really do anything. I speak. I mean, I always sound hoarse when I speak, but I don't speak when I don't have to, and I always speak in very hushed tones.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys, it's great to have you on the show again. It's been a number of years since we last spoke, but you guys, your music has just transcended time. Your fans kind of grew up with you. I mean, you've got fans who followed you. Now they have children, and even you have, grandchildren who are in the mix, who are becoming fans of Air Supply. So it's great that you've kept the sound going and you've kept on touring. It's just amazing. What do you attribute the longevity of Air Supply to?
Well, I think it's a few things. I think, first of all, we have a great live show. It's a fantastic show. We make great records, and we've got great vocals. I mean, Russell's voice is, like you said, it's a trademark of our sound. And if you hear a record and Russell's singing, you know straight away who it is. I think it's that, and we have great songs, and I'm not saying that just because I write most of them. It's everything we do is top notch. It's first class. I mean, it always was. We do a lot of shows, and people know who we are. I think that's it. We just love to do what we do, and I think we're very fortunate because there's a lot of bands out there that maybe should be where we are, but they're not. But we take everything very seriously. We like to stay in shape. We want to be good for our show. We want to, when we're out on the road, as we are most times, the show is the most important thing on our minds. Everything you do in the day is geared to the show at night. So it's the foremost thing in our mind. And I think that's why we've been around for so long. We really are road warriors, and as Russell said, we've done over 5,300 shows in our career, and a lot of people couldn't do that. Some people come out to visit us on the road for like a weekend, and after the weekend they say, I don't know how you do it, flying everywhere, waiting around, and we say, well, it's what we do. This is our profession. And this is the life we chose. And so we do it to the best of our ability. And it's quite simple, really, I think.
For a group that has, built such a large following worldwide, it must have been a very big challenge for you during COVID, when nobody was touring and nobody was performing anymore. That was for a couple of years. We all had to shut things down.
But that was quite a profound realization that nobody was entertaining anybody around the whole world. And of course, that was the first time, but it was very strange, and like most artists, we didn't play for like 18 months. And when we started to come out from under the rock, we had to remember everything, it was hard to remember chords of songs. I was going, oh my God, what's the next chord? But but it came back, you know.
And it's great. I mean, 17 albums. You guys have, I mean, does it feel like it's been almost 50 years, or does it feel like a minute? I mean, what does it feel like to you guys? Have been doing this so long. Graham, how about your favorite show? Do you have a favorite show, favorite memory? I mean, it was Cuba for Russell. How about for you?
Well, for me, I think the show, we played the Sydney Opera House 4 years ago. And, you know, going back to where we began is always a great thrill for both of us. But I thought that show was the best show of our career. Because, you know, it was sold out, obviously, and it was just a home crowd, and we hadn't been back for a while, and a lot of people were surprised that hadn't seen us before, or at least for 20 or 30 years. And funnily enough, our next show is at the Opera House again in 2 weeks. So We're going to do it again. But it was nice to go back and say, you know, we're an Australian band and we're very proud to be from Australia, and we're going to put on a show for you now that'll knock your socks off. And we did that, so I was very happy about that. You know, that was one of my favorite shows.
Well, you guys do put on a great show, there's no question. And you know, I mean, I heard Russell in an interview say that you're a rock band, that you view yourselves as a rock band, although your success has been largely in ballads and love songs. You guys are known as, you know, as the love song singers. I mean, and every love song album has Air Supply songs on it. So many babies were were conceived during your songs were playing. But
for sure,
you know, you didn't start out writing songs to be love songs, or did you?
No, not at all. You know, I just write songs. I never know what they're going to be. I just start playing, and 20 minutes later, there's a song there, and I never know which direction it's going to go in, or what's going to happen. But it just happened by chance. I happen to write a lot of love songs, you know, and I think that's from my childhood, my environment where I grew up, the stuff I was listening to before the Beatles, you know, Frank Sinatra, Rodgers and Hammerstein, and all the big musicals, because that's what I was influenced by on the BBC, and a lot of classical music like Elgar and Beethoven. And then when the Beatles came along, I was just in another world, you know, so they were my influences. They're all very romantic things, influences, you know, classical music, and that's what I listen to. And so when I write something, it's very emotional, because that's the way I think, and that's who I am. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very aware that there are certain chords that I use a lot in different forms that do something to you. You go, ugh, you know. And not a lot of people know about those chords. I think people like myself that have been writing songs a long time, they kind of get it, and they know where those chords are. And for me, I just love playing, you know, I just love writing songs, and, you know, it's great for me. I mean, I'm living the dream, you know, we both are. We tour the world, we make a very good living, and we're doing what we love. You know, I love writing songs, so every day I'm writing songs, and I have a great life, you know. It's just wonderful. You know, coming from where I came from in the center of England, a working class little village, if somebody has said to me, you know, when I was 5 or 6 years old, you're going to be a famous musician, you know, for a long time, I would never have believed it.
Well, it's a testament to your, you know, how great the music is. I mean, music lives forever, and you guys have been together 50 years, and I imagine sometimes Russell will say when you write a new song, "Hey, can you write a song without so many high notes? Can you keep it down a little bit, a little less high notes?"
I'm very conscious about that now, about not, and we'll bring keys down because sometimes, they're not. In fact, we have a new single coming out in about 10 days.
Oh, great.
That's pretty high too. And we should have had it in a low key, but we didn't. We kept it up.
You're making him work hard.
Sounds fabulous. Yeah.
Oh, I know that he's had. I mean, Russell, your voice, as I said earlier, it's just sustained the test of time, and that's amazing. And another thing about you guys that I find absolutely amazing, you've been together just about 50 years. You've never had a fight. You've never had an argument or a disagreement.
Yeah, I'm the songwriter. Russell's the singer, and neither of us wants to do the other's particular job. So there's no conflict. It's not like there's 4 or 5 members in the band. There's only 2. And so there's no conflict. And we have great respect for each other, and I'm left alone to do what I do best, and that's write songs. I just love that. And I can do that at my leisurely pace, or I can do it. I do it every day anyway. So I'm just left alone to do that. So I'm in heaven.
So I want to ask you guys, and this is an honest question, I'd like the honest answer. Do you ever, because you've been doing the same catalog for 50 years, do you ever get, a lot of artists like to change the sound or change the song, or they say, no, this tour is going to be the new album only or something. Do you ever get kind of, again, all out of love, or no?
Well, we don't. And I love every song that we play, sincerely. I know what it did to my life, what they do to my life. I know I can see in the audience what they do to people's lives at that very moment. They're great songs. People love them. And as far as changing anything about them, I've seen several acts that are very famous. And I didn't know what the song was because they wanted to update them or change the arrangements, and I couldn't recognize what they were. And I've seen the Eagles 4 or 5 times. I've seen the Stones 3 times. I just saw Paul McCartney again. I'm going to see Elton John on Saturday.
Wow.
You get to hear the songs the way you remember them, and they're faithful to their original sounds. Obviously, we have different musicians in and out of the band. They bring their influences, but the bottom line is I want to hear Graham play the intro to All Out of Love on guitar. I want to hear the piano introduction to The One That You Love, As It Always Is. That's what people, and as soon as, in fact, both those songs, as soon as Graham plays the first 2 notes of All Out of Love, everybody goes nuts. That's what they came to hear, and that's what we give them. And I'm proud that we're able to present all these songs over so many years so consistently, and I love them all.
And what gets the biggest response when you're performing?
All Out of Love.
All Out of Love. #1 song. You had so many big #1 hits and million sellers around the world. How did you come up with the name Air Supply? I read somewhere it was a dream that maybe Graham had, or something else, or it has different metaphor meaning to it. How did the name Air Supply start?
Well, we were in Superstar and we needed a name. We had a record coming out and we needed a name by the next morning. Our record company were really pushing us, and we said, okay, well, whatever we have by tomorrow morning, we'll go with whatever it is. And that night I had a dream of a big billboard, and it was pure white. And on the perimeter, it had all these flashing lights going off, like hundreds of them. And in the middle of this white billboard in big black letters, it said Air Supply. And I told Russell the next morning, and we didn't know what it meant, but it was the only thing we had. It was obviously the right name, but it doesn't have any deep esoteric meaning or anything. But it's just a name,
Is there a song or a project or a genre, something that you haven't done that you want to do, that you still on the bucket list, that's something you'd like to try to do?
No, I'm not sure. Well, I think, well, we have a movie dash musical in process now, and we've wanted to have one of these for a long time, and we've waited for several years for the right time and the right property to come along, and I think we may have found it. So that's going to be nice to see how that develops this year. But apart from that, I mean, I know Russell feels the same way. We're very happy just doing what we're doing. You know, we're very fortunate to be able to tour all over the world still at a very high level and to enjoy it. We love it. You know, we love performing and we love playing these songs that we've sang over 5,300 times. But we're lucky, you know. I think the goal is to keep doing what we're doing because we love it so much. Mm-hmm. And we couldn't ask for any more than that, you know.
So tell me about the new song. What's it called? What was the inspiration of the new song?
The new song is called Be Tough, which is an odd song, odd title for a love song. And it is a love song. I mean, you know, when I'm writing a song, I start playing the piano and I start singing things. And I was playing the piano and I just started to sing Be Tough for no reason at all. And I thought, God, that's weird. I've got to change that into something more palatable. But it didn't work. It kept coming back. So then I wrote the song around that phrase. But what it means is, for me anyway, that love, you know, love is blind and it's not always great. You know, when you have in a relationship of whichever kind you prefer, it's not easy sometimes. You have to make difficult decisions. You know, a lot of love songs are like, it's all beautiful all the time. And we have a lot of them like that. But I thought, no, it needs to be, people need to know that it's not easy. Sometimes it's tough. And that's where the song came from. I thought, be tough, be strong, be sure, and become, you know. So I started to play with all these words like become, be sure. And I was having a great time. And I thought, oh, this is really unusual and unique. And I played it to Russell. And I didn't know if he was going to like it. I mean, he always does. But I didn't know if he was going to like it. But he really did. And we went in the studio in August, and, you know, as I said earlier, it's a high song. There's a couple of really high notes in there, and but he came through and he did it all, you know, and he pretty much sings the whole song.
Wow. Is this the first song off an upcoming album? Do you have plans to write more for an album, or is this just a one-off?
We were going to, but we decided that we're going to release a single every 3 months for the foreseeable future. And when we have 12 or 14 tracks, we'll release the album. Simply because a lot of artists don't release albums anymore, you know. Well, right. Artists that are on our level. We're not on the super duper level like the Stones or anything like that. But so at the moment, we're going to release a single every 3 months, and this is the first one. So we'll see how it goes, you know.
Now, I don't think, you know, I would beg to differ. You guys are super duper superstars, and I think that everybody who has ever, you know, wanted to sing a love song to someone special, they have picked from the Air Supply catalog. I'm absolutely sure of that. I've heard your songs on the radio. I still play them, still get requests for them. And I think one of the things that makes Air Supply, my own opinion, makes Air Supply so appealing is that because it's love songs and because the voice, Russell's voice is amazing, is that people can learn English around the world. And I have found that through the Carpenters and artists like that, people with a beautiful melodic melody and a very clear singing, beautiful voice like Russell's, they learn English. In China, where I know you guys are mega stars, you are super duper stars. Hong Kong, you guys came there 5 times and filled out a 25,000 seat arena every single time. I couldn't get tickets. So, you know, you guys definitely are super duper stars. But when you go and you perform in English and everybody knows all the words to your songs in a country that doesn't speak English, that's got to feel pretty good.
It does, you know, I mean, it really does. And we're aware that what the songs and what the records mean to people in the audience. And that, you know, and it's a responsibility. We come out on stage and every time now people stand up, which is a great show of appreciation. And you see them, they're crying, they're smiling, they're so happy. And it's a responsibility for us. It's something we take great pride in, you know, and that's why we want to always have as good a show as we can bring them. But especially overseas, you do see people that you know can't speak English. If we're in China or somewhere, they know the words to the songs, but they can't speak any English. It's quite an amazing thing, and we see it every show. You know, it's great. I mean, every show for us is an experience. We learn so much at every show, more than you can imagine. Just watching people and seeing how they react to everything. You know,
Russell, there's 1.5 billion people in China who speak English because of you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. You'll probably
now they just all have to send $1 in, and we'll be okay, right?
You know, it's quite amazing. I was actually getting my manicure, my monthly manicure, and one of the ladies at the shop said that she learned English from our songs.
No doubt, no question. I know that for a fact. Having lived there, you know, you guys came and toured there. I lived there for 5 years in that part of the world, and I know that I got a lot of requests for your music because you know, your music is evergreen. The word they use there is evergreen. It will last forever. So I'm very interested to know, you know, as guys who've grown, you know, performed as idols, and you're singing love songs, you have groupies. What's the most interesting thing a groupie ever did in your career?
Oh, Russell should answer that one.
Yep. Not really. I don't know. I think, I mean, personally, I've had a couple of stalkers.
Yeah.
That, you know, that's creepy. I mean, there was a lady once who moved from Pennsylvania to be in the same town I was living in. And I've had a couple of creepy, you know, people outside the house and stuff like that. But nothing too threatening, thankfully. Yeah.
Yes. The price of fame, you know, you have to, you know, you choose that career, you're going to get some creepies every once in a while.
Yeah.
And you call your fans airheads, which you say they're okay with.
Oh, yeah. They love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They love it.
That's so cool. That is so cool. If you could collaborate with any artist, each one of you, if you could collaborate anybody, who's on your wish list to collaborate with?
For us, it
Paul
would both
McCartney.
be the same person, Paul McCartney.
Really? Big fans of Paul?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's a Beatle.
Of course.
Neither of us have met him. I'd love to meet him. You know, obviously we both would, but I'd love to meet him, but I'd love to work with him. That would be incredible. Yeah.
Can you what's up, Larry?
I'll hook you up. I'll get on the phone as soon as we're done, and
Thank you.
and it'll be a trio.
Yeah.
Paul and the guys. So let me ask you this. I mean, the holidays are coming up now. It's the new year in 23. More shows, more hard work. Is that, you see yourselves ever letting up a little bit, or no, you just kind of, this keeps you going?
Well, we decided, made a kind of an unofficial pact early on in our career that we would still perform together as long as we love doing it together and as long as people wanted to see us. And that hasn't changed. We don't see that changing for the foreseeable future. We already have dates booked in up to October next year. So, you know, we'll be back on the road again in December, November, December, have a little break, and then we'll start again in January.
Do you have in your catalog, is there a surprise, a shocker song that you thought, this is not going to be a hit, but it became a mega hit? Something that surprised you? Any surprises?
I think Sweet Dreams was a surprise because that was on the second album. And like you said earlier, Larry, all the songs up to then were big ballads. And then Sweet Dreams came out and it was a huge hit. And Clive Davis actually said, this is going to be a hit, you know. So I was very surprised about that. But it was at that time where we were on a roll, you know. It was kind of bizarre. We were just on this roll, and it was amazing, you know.
So when you're performing in America versus overseas, what's the difference you notice in the audiences, the biggest difference? And we have an international audience today. We have the troops tuned in. We're on in 100 countries around the world, the Middle East, Asia,
Wow.
Africa. So
Yeah.
we got a lot of people watching. And I'm just curious to know, what has your opinion been on the differences of the audiences?
Well, in my experience, when we started touring Southeast Asia, audiences were very quiet, very reserved. In fact, we played the Budokan in Japan in 81 or something, and they had kind of like traffic lights on each side of the stage. And when the lights were green, that was great. If it went to orange, the authorities were kind of looking at what was going on. If it went to red, they stopped the show. I mean, they didn't stop our show, obviously, but so we thought, what's going on here? Nobody's making any noise. No one's screaming. No one's doing the normal. But over the years, that's changed. So now, I mean, from my point of view, I think they're pretty much, it's free reign. Come to the show, enjoy it, stand up, cry, scream, sing, embrace, whatever.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think the Latin audiences are a little more vocal because they wear their heart on their sleeve. You know, they're not afraid to just shout and scream out, you know, I love you, you know. I mean, they do in the US, of course, but the Latin audiences are just a little more intense. You know, we just came back from South America, and it just reminded us that they are that. It's like, whoa, you know, they make a lot of noise. Good noise.
Good noise. Good noise. At a concert, you want no noise.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this, what's been the best advice you ever got, and who gave it to you? I mean, these are guys who are 50-year veterans in the music industry, 17 albums in. I mean, best advice, who gave it to you?
Well, for me, and I know Russell's different, one day, this was about 25 years ago, we were playing in a big tent, Melody tent in Cohasset. And in those days, the hotel was right next door. And I checked into the hotel, and I used to get the same room, you know. I can remember rooms I had 30 years ago, but I always used to get the same room. And I went in, and I dropped my bags, and I went into the bathroom, and I came out, and Willie Nelson is standing there with his luggage. And he said to me, he said, one of us is in the wrong room. And I said, yeah, I think so. So we weren't playing till the following night. And Willie was actually in the wrong room. So he said, we sat on the bed and we were chatting. And it was the weirdest thing. And then we got into songwriting. And the advice he gave to me, he said, whatever you do, keep it simple. And, you know, sometimes in the past with my songs are super simple. If there are more than four chords, it's rare. And I used to think, oh, you know, because I'm not into jazz or anything like that. It's too complicated for me. I'm into simplicity. And I used to think, before Willie said this, that maybe I should try getting a little more complex with my songs. But after he said that to me, I thought, I'm okay. If Willie Nelson says, keep it simple, I'm going to keep it simple. So all my songs are really simple, you know.
Wow, I can't imagine you two sitting in the same room chit-chatting,
Yeah,
you know.
we were. And
Willie does more than chit-chat, you know. There's a
yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, and actually after that, he says, do you want to go and grab a drink? And I said, yeah, sure, you know. And so we went and had a glass of wine or something. He had a beer or something. Yeah, this is a long time ago. But he was wonderful.
How about you, Russell?
How about you, mate?
It wasn't actually related to music. I was at a party at a friend of ours, John Harrigan. Remember him, Graham?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I was at this house party in Sydney, and this guy came up to me. I had never met him before, and he was very drunk. And he said, you know, hi, my name's whatever. Nice to meet you. And I said, nice to meet you. And he just said, I'll give you some great advice. The two most important things in life, and paused. And he said, breathing out and breathing in.
Oh, is that what he said?
And he walked off.
That's great. Oh, that's sound advice. I can't argue with that advice. We have Russell Hitchcock and Graham Russell. They are Air Supply. They're talking with us. 50th anniversary coming up. What are you going to do differently for the 50th? What have you got planned special?
You know, we speak about this often. We spoke about it a couple of days ago when we were in Mexico, and we're trying to figure out what we want to do. First of all, if we want to play, and if we do, where do we want to play? Because there's so many great places around the world, and where would we play? I think we decided that we want to play in the United States because it's been so good to us throughout our career. And I think we'll play, but we don't know where. But we said we want it to be a free show for the fans, but somewhere where everybody can come, maybe Central Park or something like that. We're not sure, but you know, it's not very far away, and things like this take a long time to plan. But we're going to need some help figuring out what we want to do, you know, because that 50-year anniversary comes to very few people, and it only comes once to a very few. So we want to do something very special, but we don't know what it's going to be yet.
I'm sure you guys can do like one of those live stream deals with one of those streaming companies. That would be great to have you guys on live from somewhere.
I'm sure we will do that at the very least, but we want to play somewhere that we like. And
spectacular. Wembley, how about Wembley? 80,000.
Wow, that would be good. But I think we want to do it in the US, I believe, don't we, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it certainly was the birthplace of our international success. So
yeah,
we owe the US a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the U.S. owes Air Supply a lot. You've given us so many great songs over the years, so many great memories. Every song you sang, I can remember where I was, first kiss, first date, first dance. I mean, how many weddings featured your music at weddings? I mean, it's just unbelievable, all of the success. There's nothing better. Even Paul McCartney has said there's nothing better than a good love song, a good ballad. And you guys are the best at it in the business. And it's an honor and a thrill to have you guys back on the show. It's been 20 years since the 90s when I was in Hong Kong. But before we go, and you know, I don't want to take up all your time, we are broadcasting to the troops, as I mentioned. Is there anything you guys want to say to the military men and women that are watching?
If I may, you know, every single show we do in the United States, we always pay tribute to the veterans and to current military. Every single show we pay a tribute to them. We don't play anything for them. We just salute them for their service, you know. So I know I'm speaking for both of us, but we want to wish them all the very best wherever they are. And I know it must be such a difficult life sometimes being overseas away from your family, especially this time of year. But we want to wish them every good wish we can, because where would we be without them? And I know Russell would like to add something to that too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel exactly the same way. I'm very blessed to be able to live in this country. Always have been honoured to be able to do what I do here. But I would just add, though, everybody that's in the military, no matter where you are, just please be safe, because you know, I'm sure we all have families that rely on us, that love us, that support us. Just be safe out there, because it's a really, well, I don't need to tell you guys, it's a crazy world. And, you know, you are in our hearts, and that's a sincere message to you guys, because United States wouldn't be where it is without the military, and it shall not be without every service in the military. So thank you guys and ladies.
No, thank you, Russell. Thank you, Graham. Once again, before you go, the way that people can get your new music is where? They can go to obviously Spotify and Apple and all the other places they can download music. But how about on your website? Can they get your new music on the website?
Yes, airsupplymusic.com. And our new video single will be up there in a few days. And it's going to be free, obviously. We're just going to put it up. So everybody around the world can grab it and listen to it and hopefully enjoy it.
Can you make me a promise that when you come to DC, I can get you in the studio, you guys together live?
We would love to.
Absolutely.
We very rarely play DC, but we play very close at the National Harbor, the MGM at National Harbor. And
oh yeah, that's around the block. That's literally around the block.
We'll promise the next time we play there, we'll come into the studio because we'd love to do it live in person.
That would be great. It's an honor to have you guys on again. I'm a fan. I've been a fan. And I really appreciate you making the time to talk to us and the worldwide audience. Thank you guys so much. We're talking with Graham Russell, Russell Hitchcock. They are icons in every sense of the word. And the music they've given us is obviously everlasting, evergreen. And if you couldn't have put on the radio in your lifetime and not heard music from Air Supply.
That's true.
But thank you guys so much for doing this for us on The Voice of America. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Larry.
Larry. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You're watching Border Crossings, Air Supply, our guests. My name is Larry London, and this is VOA TV.